What's up, Mr. Murphy?
Hey,
Hey,
Curran. How's it
hey,
going,
guys.
man?
Oh, I'm doing pretty darn snazzy.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for inviting me. Super cool.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, our pleasure.
So you and here, let me get this. I'll change my name to the now I'm in character. Yeah, there we go.
You were using your secret identity.
Yes,
Oh, no.
right. Now no one knows me. Yeah. So how do you and Mr. Wildcard know one another?
I think just through the mutual fact of thrash metal, baby.
Yeah, the scene.
Yeah.
I can remember
Nice.
back when you had, was it Smiley Sound? Was that the name of your studio at the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you were a kid still back then too, and I was a baby. You were like a teenager.
fresh out of the womb.
Yeah, I can remember hitting you up about prices and stuff, because I do that to everybody. I can't go into anything being like, all right, I got the cash for this, because I'm a poor bastard. So I have to be like, how much is this to do this? But I can remember mixes and stuff coming out of there being like, damn, this is cool. And that dude was in Annihilator. I want to do this, and I never got to. It's a sad story. That's the end of the story. It's sad, but
Yeah, I'm still here. You'll make another record.
Yeah, indeed. And you did. We got Curran got to run sound for us unwillingly at Geneva. That was that Lake of Fire Fest, or it was in Geneva.
No, I actually enjoyed running sound for that.
That was cool, man. That was a pleasant surprise for me when I walked in and saw that. I was like, damn, this is gonna be cool. It sounded great.
A lot of good bands on that whole bill.
That was fun. That was a fun time.
A good sound guy makes all the difference in the world, man.
We headlined, and then everybody left at midnight. It was great. Classic Ohio thing. It was awesome, man.
That's everywhere.
Right. But it was a fun time, and it sounded great. That was nice. That was pleasant.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I knew of there was tell of legend of an Ohioan being an Annihilator. I'm a massive Annihilator fan. I think you know that, Curran. So
I have been told once or twice, I think.
Yeah, so you helped me solve some Tone Quest mysteries on Jeff's guarded secrets over the years. So that helped me out, man.
It's a JCM 800 and an SD1.
Yeah.
And an SM57 right on a.
Let me tell you, man. Let me tell you, there's some smoke and mirrors, man, and sometimes it's the simplest things that hiding in plain sight. That's what we got there. So that's kind of it's the Ohio scene, man. Akron, Canton, Cleveland, Toledo, Sandusky, Northern Ohio has. We know there's a lot of mutual folks in and about that scene. We all kind of know each other, which is cool.
I'm glad that there's still a scene. I've been out to clubs, been in quite a while, but it was just hard to find metal shows coming to Cleveland for a while. Like they were just not coming around. So if there's a metal scene, because you're in Akron, right, Curran?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, in Akron.
So is the metal scene? What's it like down there?
It's okay. I mean, there's more heavy bands, than I think people know, and there's a couple of really good clubs for it. But I think everyone is still recovering from the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even before that, people would bounce at 11 before the drunking hour.
Right.
So if you were on a 5 or 6 band bill, you're playing for the bartender and the sound guy, and they're like, "Can you guys play 3 songs so I can go home?" That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think the metal scene all over the country, as far as the club scene, is still good and solid. It's just finding it is the hard thing. And then if a venue is doing metal, them consistently doing metal is really the key to developing any kind of hey, I'm going to go down here and have a couple of beers on Wednesday because I know they got metal on the jukebox.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right. You guys got the Empire out there. That's one I see regularly. I get Akron and Canton kind of, confused. So
right. Well, so there's the Empire, and I've been in charge of maintaining and running that PA for the last 4 or 5 years. So
nice.
PA is really tip top. The owner of the venue, he's like, "What can we do to make it better?" I'm like, we need this, and then the next day it shows up. Oh, hey, new
Yeah.
mic stands. Hey, new mics.
Right.
Hey, hey, a PA that doesn't blow up. Hey.
Right.
And then there's right down the street from there is another place called the Vortex, which
Okay.
is more of what you would call your classic heavy metal club. It's not a bathroom I'd want to sit down in.
Right. Yeah. Now that's class. That's
No,
what we had.
no,
in Cleveland
just
was now
holes in the
that's class.
floor. No seats
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
toilets.
Those are the venues, man. Those
Yeah,
venues
that's like
have
the old
heart.
days of the old fantasy, the old all those holes in the
All
wall.
those venues,
Yeah.
they're all
Peabody's.
they're all
Yeah.
based on CBGB.
Yeah, you
They're
walk
all
out of the
that
bathroom
venue.
feeling like you got Hep C.
Yeah,
Yes.
I almost feel like CBGB should have been getting a franchise fee for all these.
Yeah, really. There's so many venues that have based their aesthetic, there no bathroom stall doors and really gross bathrooms on
and that pre-done urine smell everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like going to the old Cleveland Stadium.
Yeah.
Hot dogs and urine, and that's just walking through the front gate.
Yeah, but then down in Canton, you've got the Buzz Bin, which is an absolutely phenomenal.
They get a lot of big shows.
Club. I got a couple shows coming up there in July and August. Oh shit, even May. Oh God, can I swear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh fucking thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. You're safe. I'm on the show, so.
Yeah.
No, but the Buzz Bin, they just built out their stage, their indoor stage. They built that out, so it's now a stage.
Oh.
I know that Chris is trying to get that PA to really be as good as he can get it. It's sounding good when I go and watch shows there. I think the monitor situation, they're still trying to sort that out, but all those things require money. So he's getting it together.
Right.
The vibe there, that place, that's the kind of bar where I know I can go in there, have a drink, and there's going to be cool music on stage.
Right.
So I
cool,
really
man.
dig the Buzz Bin's a great venue. I don't know what the hell's going on up in Cleveland though. Are there any venues?
Yeah, we still have, it's weird because
Peabody's, I think the Fantasy's gone, but Peabody's is still a big venue.
Peabody's has been gone for a while.
Is dead.
Oh, really?
They got-
Peabody's is dead?
Yeah, it's a parking lot now.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Are you
But
kidding
the
me?
Odeon's still the
Odeon,
thing. The
it's
Agora's
House
still
of Blues,
thing.
the
House of
Agora.
Blues.
Yeah, but
Okay.
those aren't venues where local bands.
Right, and you're
those
talking
don't count.
so
Probably
Those
Flying
are-
Machine,
Flying Machine's
the
gone.
Foundry.
The Foundry is still
Brother.
there, still operating as the Foundry.
But do they-
Fantasy's still there, and whatever. There's the three. There's the Fantasy, then there's the other thing that's attached to the Fantasy. That's also the Symposium's still there. Now that's class is now no class, so it's still there. There's like the Brothers Lounge is a name that pops up quite a bit. I see now.
I got
A small venue kind of vibe.
Studio client of mine that plays there, but he does like acoustic solo act stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
And shit.
in for Marshall full staff.
Yeah, exactly. There's another. I mean, there's the Grog Shop, and there's the Beachland, and there's the Maple Tavern.
The Maple is it the Maple Tavern or the Maple Grove? Or is
Maple Grove. That's right. Maple Tavern's another place. I think
and then
it's
there's
not.
another place. Isn't there another place now called like the Winchester or the Winston?
Yeah, there's the Winchester. I've never been. They get a lot of shows. And there's also oh shit. I don't know. I saw. I went to a Glutton show at this place, but I can't fucking remember where it was. It was a venue.
There are some good venues then up in Cleveland.
Yeah. Well,
man.
the problem, and they come with all the classic like no parking situation. It sucks so bad. I hate going to a venue and there's no parking. Like you got to park on a side street and you're like, oh, cool. I might get mugged going back to my car.
Yeah, my car's gonna be gone when you come back. Right?
Yeah, yeah. So, but there's still a lot of small venues up and around the area. Near us, there's not too many. Illyria used to have a couple places, and Lorraine used to have a couple places, and there's nothing.
Yeah,
Cover bands can play
yeah.
places, but there's nothing for original music out by us. Sandusky still has a few places.
Cool.
I think the underground is still there. But
I think you guys might have been one of the last, or was it? What was the other band that Marshall sang in at our death metal, or was it your?
He was in Black Trinity for a minute.
Okay, I remember seeing them, and there was a death metal fest. I'm not sure who put it on.
Where was it at?
That's why I can't remember. That was like one of the last original or like local metal band shows that I ever been, and that was that was a decade ago. or
Oh, I know
more.
he got to play the fucking House of Blues, that bastard. Fucking
No,
Black
it wasn't.
Trinity,
It wasn't anything.
he got to
nice.
play the House of Blues, man, and he got to get the fridge that was stocked full of beer. What a motherfucker. Never got to play the House of Blues.
Oh.
All right, we better do our thing, man.
Yeah,
We already started the show.
Yeah,
We
I
haven't
know.
done the thing.
That's right. How much? How much time do you have, Curran?
Whatever. I'm
Okay.
good.
All right. I hope you got a sandwich.
We like
Can
to
I go,
check.
Can I go grab a beer?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, man. We got time.
Yeah, I'm missing USFL for this motherfuckers.
Do you have a DVR?
missing my new. No, I got the YouTube live thing.
Oh, okay.
And I got the peacock or the cock, as Jim Cornette would call it. So I can do the replays.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we got a we have a great intro for you.
Uh-oh.
Most amazing intro in the world.
Yeah. And then we'll get into it, man. It's gonna have fun.
If you fuckers overhype me, I'm walking.
All the overhype.
Is that possible? Can we really overhype something? As rock and roll as this? All right. Here we go. You ready, Vic?
Yep.
All right.
Hey there, this is Nicholas from Wolf, and you're watching Heavy Metal Horror Show.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
In lieu of Chop Top and Dreadbull, I am Vic Wildcard Stone, your co-host.
That's right. You're 3 in 1. And you are watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror. Was that underhyped, overhyped, hyped enough? Is that all right?
Evenly hyped.
Evenly hyped. Excellent, excellent. Kids, we've got a great show tonight. Curran Murphy is here. Shatter Messiah, Annihilator, Nevermore, and an amp builder at Custom Audio Mutation. Curran, welcome to Heavy Metal Horror.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
It is our pleasure. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, I know a couple of the other guys, Dreadful and Chop Top, they send their condolences. They couldn't be here today.
They're probably out enjoying the weather.
Yeah, well, yeah, one
Getting
is
suntans.
One's doing some chores and the other is up with a broke back kind of thing. Broke back. So he's
some kind of disc stuff, right?
Yeah,
painful back things.
Painful back
that
things.
suck. Yeah,
as
lame.
age comes in, you start.
No one likes those.
No, so, but you get the ones who count. You know, the ones that
That's
matter.
right.
That's right. So,
the ones the viewers want to see.
That's right. Yeah, you get all this good looking. You know, all this. So I guess we'll start asking maybe a little bit about your background, Curran. Where did your love of music come from?
Well, I mean, Gadzooks. It comes from just what it does to me emotionally when I hear it. Even when I put on the old albums that first got me interested in even listening to music, that was the first thing, something that entertained, like, I want to hear that again, to, what inspired me to actually want to play guitar. And all of it is just that element of something that seems greater than me that I can try to do, and that when I do it, it's awesome. So, that's why I like music, and I can't figure out anything else to like better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember any particular influences, like or bands or artists who stuck out, when you were younger?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest influence for me, the band that ruined my life with music, was Metallica. The And Justice for All album.
Really?
So, oh yeah. So I'm a late bloomer. Like, I always find out about bands after they're no longer cool.
Right.
I don't know what it is. Like, I didn't get into Slayer until Diabolus and Musica.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
that's my favorite Slayer record. That album
interesting.
Has the angriest, most savage snare drum ever recorded in the history of snare drums. I love that album. And then that's not saying that like, well, you know, oh, he doesn't like Rain and Blood or Haunting the Chapel. No, I got all those records. Those records are all
Right.
great. But it took me a long time to mature enough to enjoy Slayer.
Right.
I got into Metallica because I loved what that band did and I loved how it sounded. And then when I found out that I didn't need musical talent to play, I could buy tablature books.
Right.
It was off to the races.
Right.
So-
See, Vic? See? Look at that.
Talent.
Yeah.
that?
See, another accomplished musician whose talent does need talent. So there you go.
Right. Right.
Um,
But Metallica was the band that got me excited, like wanting to play guitar. The band that actually got me to enjoy music was Def Leppard off the Hysteria record. And then of course I went back and bought Pyromania, High and Dry, and On Through the Night and all that stuff. And you know, and I think that that's where part of my hesitation or hold up to enjoying like Slayer or Megadeth when I was, you know, growing up comes from. Like I got introduced to metal with Metallica, and the production on their records, the sound of their records was so good. And so then I hear something like Slayer, I'm like, well, they're out of tune and they sound like shit, you know. Fuck this band. You know, or Megadeth, where it's like you listen to Peace Sells But Who's Buying, and it's like, how come this doesn't sound good like Metallica? And then you get that on top. And again, you know, I'm doing a caricature of Dave Mustaine because Megadeth is a phenomenally monstrous band, and I'm a huge Megadork fan. I mean, everything Dave does, I think, is literally brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, and when you stack it up against something like Metallica, it's like listening to jazz versus listening to, you know, Four on the
It's
Floor.
ironic that you should say jazz, given, you know, Gar was a jazz drummer. So that's good.
Absolutely.
a couple episodes ago, we did our very first Slugfest game where we were comparing two titans of metal, two albums. We're going track at a time, like boxers in a ring, and scoring each song,
Right.
which one's better than the other, and we're going to see who comes out. And the two albums we compared were Master of Puppets and Rust in Peace.
Oh,
So yeah, you have to check it out. It's up.
For me, I mean, we can settle the debate right now. Rust in Peace is a far superior record.
I concur.
It just is. Metallica, Master of Puppets is a benchmark album. It's the breakout album for them, and it's a phenomenal record. And I mean, every day when I'm warming up on guitar, you know, I'll run my scales to you know, try to get more accurate and technical. And then after I'm warmed up, I get down to the real shit, the business of playing rhythm guitar. And the first two songs I play are Battery and Master of Puppets.
Right.
So I can benchmark and know where I'm at physically with my playing. Because if I can't downpick the intro and all of Master of Puppets, then I know that I'm being a pussy and need to fucking play more guitar. So,
Right.
But I mean, that's the album. Rust in Peace is the album where I started to like Megadeth because the production. You listen to that album, how good that album sounds.
Yeah.
And how Max Norman got Dave's vocals to work.
Right.
And not sound like, but to sound like, you know, brother will kill brother. You know, like,
right.
Like, all right, I can buy this. Ooh, yeah. You know, it's like that
Yeah, right.
Right.
And then I went back and I got all the old Megadeth, and I was able to. So my doorway to bands has always been, and I never knew this until I became a record producer, has always been production. How does an album sound? If an album sounds good, that means the artist's vision gets conveyed properly and is more immediate for a non-fan, a casual fan, or a full fan. And that's always been, and I never knew that until oh, well, no wonder I like Def Leppard. Listen to the great production. No wonder I like Metallica. Listen to the great production. You know, and then no wonder it took me so long to like Slayer, because listen to
those earlier albums are, I mean, a lot of that's the hallmark, I think, of what was going on in the recording scene, the metal scene in the 80s. You also hear like Blizzard of Oz sounds like really tinny as well, you know. You know, and Bark at the Moon sounds better. It's a much better song. See, I do the same thing with audio engineering. I took a class when I was an undergrad, and ever since then that's how I listen first, and I focus on the drums. I'm a drummer, so well, that's how I started. And so I listen to the drums and how well are they mixed, depending on the genre. But if you got a bad sounding drum kit, like as much as Maiden, I love Maiden, but a lot of times Nico's drums sound horrible. They're all like low and thuddy and just buried in the mix, and like the best sounding recording. I mean, Peace of Mind is great, Seventh Son, and then the X Factor. I think the X Factor is one of the best sounding records they've ever made. Not a great album because of the singing, but musically, sonically, boy, that's a great album.
Cool. I'll have to check that one out. That's my wife Lisa. That's her favorite band in the world is Iron Maiden. Her number 2 is Megadeth. So she's more metal than me. She should actually probably be doing the same.
Okay, well, bring her on. That's cool. So, listening to Shatter Messiah. I mean, we're gonna get into Annihilator, Nevermore here.
Yeah, that's totally cool. Nothing's off limits, man.
Okay, cool. What attracted you to like progressive metal as a genre?
I don't think of it as progressive metal. It's just what I write, and I don't. It's not a cop out answer. I don't think. Everything about what Shatter Messiah is everything that every band I've ever been in, what I wanted it to be. I wanted an amazing drummer, and I lucked out and got an amazing drummer. I wanted a singer that could sing and that wasn't afraid to get gruff and aggressive. And then, I could do all the vomit vocal stuff that, but then just being able to write guitar riffs and play how I want. And like the first Shatter Messiah album was a direct result of, not being in Nevermore and not being in Annihilator. So, I didn't want 7-string guitars on the record. I was burned out. I didn't want to, because I already knew that how I write was going to be compared to, Nevermore and Jeff Loomis. And I already knew that people were going to say, well, it doesn't sound like Annihilator. How come it doesn't sound like Annihilator? So it's a lot of the album is in drop C, which is not a very progressive metal or prog or melodic metal tuning. That's kind of a hardcore like Machine Head or, tuning, the one finger wonder chord, this, that, and the other. But I really wanted to I made a conscious decision to break away from what I was sick of doing and what I thought people were going to be like, well, how come it doesn't sound like Annihilator? And why doesn't it have 7-string like Nevermore? But my writing style, I just write music that I like. I like writing riffs that I like, and then I try to make those into songs. And from there, the rest of it, like all the guitar layering and 12 tracks of melody guitars and stuff like that I guess you could call prog, is because I can't play keyboard. so I layer guitars until they don't sound like guitars anymore, and then it's like, all right, cool, let's go. How do I make it happen live? No tracks. But
I read the description. I thought, why, it doesn't. I mean, it's not prog like in the same sense as like Dream Theater, Opeth, kinds of prog.
And that's
but it's also very melodic in a way that you also get with like Opeth. But it was for me, it kind of it's not pigeonholed. It didn't have to sit in a box, which is what I like about it.
Awesome. That's what makes it almost impossible for the band to be signed to a bigger label. I've had conversations where we love your record. We think it's great. Can't sell it.
We don't know what to do with it because we can't put a label on it.
So what the fuck do we do with this weird Shatter Messiah band? We can't do anything with it.
Can't do nothing with it.
You're too good. You're genre busting, and that's the problem. You'll be misunderstood, and
forging my own path right off a cliff.
Aren't we all? Oh, that's awesome. Well, you've been in these bands, Annihilator and Nevermore. These are pretty big bands. So how did you find yourself in Annihilator?
On the first leg of the European Dead Heart and a Dead World tour in like 2000, or maybe it was 99. I don't know. It's all a blur. Nevermore, we were co-headlining with Annihilator, sharing a bus. And, we toured for like 4 or 5 weeks over in Europe. And midway through the tour, Jeff Waters comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, are you in Nevermore?" I'm like, "No, I'm just their touring guitar player." You know, I was always very clear about that. I'm in Nevermore. No, I was their touring guitar player. And he's like, "Well, how would you feel about joining Annihilator?" I'm like, what? What do you mean? And he's like, "Well, you know, we're having problems with our guitar player, the Dave guy, and we're gonna get rid of him. And we think you would be great in this band, and we would want you to be a member, and you'd be treated as a full member and all this fun stuff." And I'm like, "Well, you know, I'm shocked." What?
Right.
And then from there, it's like, "Well, look, you know, I got to do this right. I can't piss off Jeff Waters by saying, 'No way, dude, no way, bro.' And I can't walk out on Nevermore because, you know, I've made a commitment to them of, hey, as long as you keep hiring me, I'll keep showing up. You know, I like playing in the band. I like the music you guys do, and I like getting to tour and all this fun stuff." And so I told Jeff, I'm like, "Hey, you know, this Dead Heart and Dead World tour is supposed to go for like a year and a half. At the end of it, if you still need a guitar player, give me a call. You know, I can't walk out now because that wouldn't be right." And he understood. Right. And then, you know, so the next 3 weeks were not awkward, but, you know, like the bass player and drummer and singer Joe, and we're like, "Man, you know, Curran, we really hope that, hey man, you know, they're doing that thing to me the whole like." And it was really flattering. It was really cool that that they thought, you know, I was worthy. Yeah. So that's how I got an Annihilator, was from how I, you know, being in Nevermore.
You guys were touring together.
Yep.
So how long did you guys tour together? Because you could, you know, if they wanted to boot them out, you could play both bands every night.
Jim and Worrell would have said no. That would have been a hard no. No, we were out on the road for like 5 weeks together, sharing a bus and doing, you know, all the big theaters and big halls over in Europe. So that it was their Carnival Diablos tour, and we were on the Dead Heart tour, Dead Heart and the Dead World tour.
Oh, okay. And
that's the sound. That's the sound. I want that Carnival sound. I'm obsessed with it. That's the sound.
Like I am with drums, you are with tone.
That's that tone. That's my gosh.
You're always seeking.
I'll give you the gear list, man. It's really simple.
Yeah. See, look at that score for Wildcard.
It is. It's hilarious. It's so great.
It's just one of those. What was it? That pedal that was it that 505? Oh God, your dad used to have one. I had one for my guitar. It was you're thinking of probably a Boss. No. It was just a multi-effects pedal. It was just it was something 505.
Oh, the Zoom. That was mine.
Yeah.
That was mine, man.
I still have one of those.
It's probably that. I have one too, man.
Dude, my favorite thing on that thing was that that one setting where you would hit it. I think it was like patch 99, or it was way high in there, and you'd hit it, and it'd go.
Yeah. So like
I don't know what that's called.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
The step filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. That was a really great pedal for the money. Man,
it was unless you dropped it.
Had a nice chorus sound, a decent distortion. Yeah, it was cool.
The old Zoom 505, they were ahead of their time.
Well, you obviously have, you know, you've been touring with these bands. You've obviously had to meet a lot of people who you grew up kind of feeling like you were, you know, they were your heroes. Can you talk about some of the people you've met? Like, okay, I've met this guy and this guy. These were both heroes of mine. You know, how was that meeting like for you to finally to get to meet some of the people you really admired when you were, you know, younger, before you got in these bands?
Well, before I got in Nevermore and Annihilator, I never met anybody. I've never met anybody. That was like, you couldn't get past that curtain. But after joining Nevermore and, you know, doing, like, you know, when you go and you do these European festivals, you know, it's like every band. Oh, well, I like that band. 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 And, you know, you're all back in the same hospitality area, drinking the same beers and eating the same food. And, you know, hey, you know, it's Joey Vera from Armored Saint. Wow. Hi. You know,
right.
Oh, it's Scotty in from Anthrax. Hey, wow. You know, and that kind of fun stuff. That one of the funniest, coolest stories was the Grass Pop Festival. When I was in Annihilator, we were playing the tent stage which was not so the main stage, the 10th stage, and then like a teeny tiny stage. And we were on the 10th stage playing at like 1 p.m, perfect time for heavy metal. And Iron Maiden was going to headline that night. And for these festivals, and Vic, I don't know if you've ever gone and played a festival or not, but where like from the hotel room, they have shuttles for the bands. Like, all right, the shuttle leaves at 9, it leaves at 10, it leaves at 11. And, so if you go to the festival, you're there all day. You don't get like, oh, I'm going to go back to the hotel and nope, fuck you. You're here for 12 hours. Okay. So Iron Maiden they drive their tour bus into the backstage area of this festival. They're not at the hotel. They got their own thing and pull in with this bus, and they're not playing for like 10 or 11 hours. Like they're headlining at 1 a.m. in Belgium, and it'll be 80,000 people going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they pull up at like, 10 in the morning on this, and they all, get out of the bus, and they're all standing by the bus. And suddenly you see all the canisters of all the other bands, the doors open, and all the bands that are playing that are all come out and get in the line to have the Iron Maiden guys sign shit. And I'm like, this is the cutest thing I have ever seen. All of these guys are like, dude, it's Iron Maiden. I got to get an autograph and a picture with the Earth. After everybody had gotten all their shit signed, Iron Maiden gets on their bus and drives away. And they come back later to play. They came specifically for a backstage meet and greet.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So what shit did you have signed?
I didn't have any shit. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm such a complete goof.
No, you didn't get the memo.
Yeah. So, it's like, it's hilarious when you see like, man, that's Slayer and Anthrax and Armored Saint and and they're all waiting in line to
I mean, Iron Maiden.
That's
fantastic.
So cool.
It is.
So it like took everybody down from that, they're untouchable, unspeakable to notch to, well,
right.
They're metal fans too.
Yeah.
It was really a cool thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
really
fantastic.
Fun.
It's like, yeah, here it comes. I can just see Kerry King quivering. Mr. Dickinson, can you sign my thing?
Don't tell anybody I'm gonna cry.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So when you go to these shows, I mean, that was like one of the questions we like to ask is, the festivals you like to enjoy it, and like, do you get to enjoy the festival atmosphere as a fan as well? And it sounds like you are totally there as a fan.
Well, for me, I know how lucky and like miraculous the adventure I've been on is. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that. It's not taken for granted. It's not like, oh man, just another gig. Who cares? No, fuck you. Yeah. I love to play, and the bands I've been able to play in and have played in, and the players I've met and the players I've played with, it has just been phenomenally awesome. So I still geek out and nerd out. One of the Summer Day in Hell in Italy Fest. Prong was playing the main stage before Annihilator, and I never would know the lineups before we'd get to these things. I would just go and see the performance times, and I'm like, what the fuck is this injustice that has been done to us? Prong should be playing after it, because I'm like Tommy Victor's my number 2 favorite rhythm guitar player in the face of the fucking earth. I love Prong. They're so good. And I'm like, so I run to the stage. I'm in my rock gear, my black leather metal pants and my black shirt, and my guitar tech is back behind the stage. Curran, while you're here, shut up, Prong is playing. And I'm standing side stage yelling the lyrics at Tommy Victor. And Tommy Victor's standing there, he's playing, and he starts looking over like, starts going to the furthest side of the stage, and because I mark out for Tommy Victor. It's just the guy can sing and play guitar at the same time, and the guy's rhythm guitar playing. I had a dinner date with when I lived in Seattle. My girlfriend at the time, she was girlfriends with Terry Date's wife.
Okay.
The guy who produced like all the Pantera records, produced a bunch of Prong records, and he mixed and engineered I think either 1 or 2 Sanctuary records.
Okay.
But didn't get to mix them. Like he did rough mixes, and then Dave Mustaine came in and remixed them.
Yeah.
All.
Right.
And so I got to have dinner with them, and that was, Tommy Victor, tell me about Tommy. Like I and Terry was super nice, and I'm like, how'd you get that tone? How'd you do this? How many guitar tracks? And he's like, dude, Tommy, it was layers and layers, and he's the tightest fucking guitar player I've ever worked with. Valve State 8100 head.
Oh no shit! I just watched a demo video on one of those. They sound pretty fucking good, man.
I mean, they're all the tube in it is for the clean channel, not the distortion.
Right.
And he had a compressor pedal, and a noise gate, and that's what he hears. And it's one of the coolest, most correct heavy metal tones of all time.
Yeah, it's a cool head.
I'm fanboying out here on Prong. Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands. So
yeah.
So is he's number 2? Who's number 1?
James Hetfield.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Makes sense.
The right hand of God. I mean,
that's a picking hand, man. That's how I learned to do it, man. I don't alternate pick normally. I'm a down picker, and that's
the funny story about that is, it's like, apparently from all the stuff I've ever read about Metallica and interviews with producers and Bob Rock and all these funny things is, they're creatures of, they only know how to do it one way. So James didn't know that you could alternate pick stuff, so he just down picked everything.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
It sounds better. I don't know. It just sounds better.
It's the attack is different.
Digga or da 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 da. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And then so the galloping and all of that, and like D, when they detuned to D for Sad But True, they didn't think of that. Bob Rock said, "Hey, try this."
Right.
They're like, he's like, "Why is it always the open E? Why is it?" Well, it's the lowest note. Well, have you guys ever thought about DJing? No, well, here, try it. And then, and that's not saying like they're a bunch of idiots or something. It's just
bunch of cavemans. Metallica is
they just know what they know. And,
right.
It's just,
what's it's the whole, it's not broken, don't fix it mentality. So I get
hang on,
that.
I gotta go pay my lawn care. Hang on.
Yeah. I was really hoping he'd lean out the window. I thought that would be amazing.
Throw money out the window. That'd be awesome.
Thanks for mowing. It would have been great.
Just throw a big handful of quarters. Here's your tip.
It's a roller coaster. It's a $10 in quarters. It doesn't even pay. Doesn't even pay for it all.
Oh, nickels, man. 50 packs of nickels. It's $2 at a time. Take it. Getting rid of all the change.
There we go.
Oh shit.
No, that's good, man. That's cool. So speaking of, we got a lot of questions about touring. I think one of the things we like to find out from the people we get to talk to, because it's a life that Vic knows, because the only bands that I played in, we did like college circuit stuff. It was all the bands when I was in college. So we played college bars, whether at our own or at other universities. We just went out and hit the, we were a college band. Even like the metal band, there wasn't much of a metal scene in Bowling Green or Toledo, as far as that goes, but we were able to find some stuff. But so I don't know the life. That's what we like to ask these questions. So when you're out touring, as from your point of view, Curran, do you prefer like the smaller, intimate venues or the larger arenas? Because from a fan's point of view, being really close to a band is fantastic. Like some of these gigs, you can just reach out and like touch them. You have that eye, contact. What about from your point of view?
Well, I'm just a sucker for a show. I don't care. I love them all. The hardest part about doing like, festivals or arena shows is it's about 30 feet of dead air before you see a face. You got the stage and the drop down and all that. And then there's the space behind, and then the barrier, and then there's a couple people 30 feet away. So that's hard to, it's a different way you have to work to communicate what you're doing, to put forward,
right,
your emotion, the emotion that you're putting into your performance. Because I'm not a shoegazer. I'm not just standing there like, okay, no, I play. I like to run around like an idiot and have fun because the music is fun to me, and I like to bounce around like a Super Bowl. Fuck it, it's a good time. But you have to, in a big environment like that, you have to figure out how to still connect with somebody that's 30 feet away. And a lot of it's eye contact. A lot of it is stopping and looking at somebody and all right, now you're looking, all right. And then, smaller venues, it's a lot easier because there's more, that energy is immediate. You hit a chord, everybody, goes nuts right off the rip. You're sitting there headbanging and someone's going to lean over and headbang right with you, at the front of the stage. So, I love them both just because I like playing shows. I don't care. I love to play, but it's a different kind of energy. And if you can command a huge stage and you can command a small stage, you got the best of both worlds. It's one of the really interesting things that I've seen. Like, when you're talking about like, what do you prefer better? It's all about the energy. Is how do you command it? How do you control it? Watching a true front man make people lose their fucking minds with nothing. This was in an arena. One of my last tours with Annihilator, we were opening up for Judas Priest when Rob Halford had first come back. So it was like the Reunited tour or the United tour, something along those lines. And the first show was in Hanover in a soccer stadium. And we were the 30-minute annoyance before Judas Priest. I knew exactly what we were. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted us there. And we got up and we did our thing. And there were some people cheered and this and that, but you knew. And then Priest gets up there and they're playing, and like 2 songs in, Glenn Tipton's guitar rig blows up and the spare's not working. And so there's all the techs are back there freaking out, running around, and me and my drummer Bob's are standing side stage, not on the stage, but like down in the pit. We're having a couple of drinks and we're like, what the hell's happening? How come there's no sound? How come there's no songs? What's going on? And then we just see Rob Halford walking back and forth at the front of the stage, just like across the stage, right? And there's no sound. And then we start to hear roaring. And I look out to the crowd, and then I look at Rob Halford, and I see that as he's walking by, he's got the microphone like this, and he's in that huge trench coat with the big leather dangly, and he's just doing this to the front, 30 feet away, and he's just doing this. He's not making eye contact or anything. He's not saying anything in the mic. He's walking, pacing across the 60-foot wide Painkiller stage for almost 6 minutes straight because the guitar rig wouldn't work and they couldn't fucking play a song. And as he's walking, the crowd sees the hand and it just starts. As he's walking, it follows him, the screen, and then back for 6 minutes. Front man. Front man. That's how you talk about playing a big arena. And Rob Halford, when he was in Fight, was playing 300 people clubs.
Right.
And crushing it, beating the shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for what Fight was doing, but I recognized like, whoa, like, what the fuck? Or Bruce Dickinson, same thing. That
right.
Put him on a small
he acts really big because he said he's trying to reach those people because they're playing 80,000 people down to those big festivals, and even though they have screens up, when they're playing even a regular venue, 18,000, 15,000, he's said he's trying to reach to the people in the back. He's trying to do the mannerisms that they can see, so that they can see him move on the stage, because he's a terrific frontman, one of the best in the business at getting the energy, getting the focus on him, using the stage. It's exhausting to watch him run back and forth with all that exuberance and energy.
Right.
For 40 years.
Exactly. I know he's been killing it. Exactly. Right. And now they got Yeah.
And I mean, and Bruce had to go and do small stages and stuff when he went solo with like
Right.
Mhm.
Accident at Birth, Chemical Wedding, Tattooed Millionaire, those incredible records, and he was still killing it. Still
Right.
killing
Yeah. I saw him a couple times. First time must have been maybe Sandusky or Cleveland State Theater when on his first solo album that he did. What was that one? The
Tattooed Millionaire.
Tattooed
Millionaire.
Millionaire. And then I
Yeah.
saw him on the Skunk Works, which oh god, I love that album. He was playing at the World Series of Metal downtown Cleveland. At the it was the Agora. He was playing. They had the ballroom and the theater. This was at the smaller of the two shows. He was
Oh,
there on a
wow.
Friday night, and it was a standing room. You know that's no bigger than like 30 feet wide. You know, and
It was,
about
it's
100 feet.
comparable to, yeah, it's like comparable to what Peabody's was, that like the ballroom.
Yeah, there's
the
nothing
theater,
there,
the theater
but
was big. Yeah.
but there were so many bands that took longer to play. He was supposed to go on 11 o'clock. It was 2:30 in the morning. And you could tell he was just fucking pissed, you know, and there was
Yeah.
like 7 people
Yeah.
left waiting for him. And I was like, one of them, like, it's Bruce Dickinson, man. Don't you guys want to fucking see Bruce? And
Yeah,
so,
right.
so he sat out there. He didn't open his eyes. I could tell he was so pissed. But he put on a great show still, you know. And then we got a chance to meet him on the Accident at Birth tour when they came back to Cleveland for
Cool.
that. So that was with Adrian Smith
Yep.
and that was awesome because I had met Iron Maiden before. I had a backstage pass. Just to, you know, you get the 5 minutes, you know, with them and
Yeah.
get to ask a couple questions. But this was just really cool. It was laid back, and I got to ask him. I said, Bruce, man, what happened to Maiden? Seventh Son, your pinnacle of like creative, explosive perfection, and you got the next 2 albums after that. Come on, dude, what happened? You know? And he's like, he just shook his head. He's like, yeah. He goes, some people in the band wanted to go for more of a classic rock sound. He didn't name names. And he said, I just knew it was a sinking ship and I had to leave, you know. But you know, it was just still like I had a chance. I had to take it, you know.
Yeah,
So
of
that's
course.
yeah, but seeing him in those small venues, you know, it's great, you know, Grip Inc., Overkill, you know, I mean, just reach out and touch them.
Yeah.
Nile, the same way, you know, these bands, you know, King Diamond at the House of Blues, just so close. You know.
Yeah,
So
it's exciting.
yeah. Okay, back to the road for
All right, okay.
you, Curran. What's your favorite food to eat when you're on tour?
Kebab, like over in Europe, the kebabs are always like, you know, with the big meat stick and they shave it off and they put it in the pita thing and the tzatziki sauce. Oh yeah, get the fuck out of here. That shit's amazing.
Nice.
In the States, you know, honestly, because in the States everything's so heavy, like, all right, budget, you know, to be able to get to the next gig, we always do like 2 coolers. You know, we do a cooler with, you know, hamburgers and hot dogs, and we do a cooler with drinks, and, you know, we barbecue out back behind the club, and, you know, so burgers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't have anything kind of great and fun in your rider, you know, like as far as like crazy foods or, you know, stuff like that?
No. I haven't done a rider for Shatter Messiah since after our second tour. Just, you know, we don't sell enough records to get a rider.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about when you in Annihilator, Nevermore? What do you remember having something like did they come to you and like ask you like, okay, what stuff do you need to have?
So my first experience with like a production company or a company that actually like read the rider and provided everything on the rider was with Nevermore. We were shooting shooting a video for Believe in Nothing, and they did our tour rider 100% to a T, to the point where there were 6 packs of cigarettes. And I'm like, why are these cigarettes here? Like, you know, Worrell doesn't smoke. Well, Van smoked, Jim smoked, and Jeff smoked. But I'm like, Jim's like, yeah, this is on our rider. I'm like, but we never get this anywhere else. He's like, shut up.
Finally got some smokes.
Finally got some smokes. So that was one of the funniest things that I like, oh, that's weird, you know. But I mean, you know, most rider stuff, it's real simple, you know. We need, you know, food for lunch, food for while we're there, you know, make sure there's a dinner, something, you know. We got 2 vegetarians in the band, so 2 vegetarian meals, and, you know, nothing outlandish, no, you know, no demands.
You're okay with the brown M&Ms?
I prefer the brown M&M.
Okay. All the brown ones come to you. Nice.
Right.
Nice. Can you talk about what your best show was and what made it your best?
Wow. Well, I still don't think I've had my best show. I think my best show
Fair
will
enough.
be the last show I
Sure.
ever did.
Okay.
But I would say like one of my funnest, most best shows of all time with Nevermore was probably my first time playing Wacken, because it was like, it was, you know, I didn't know anything back then, and we'd already played a few festivals for the Dead Heart and the Dead World tour, but you know, Worrell and Jim were like, this is Wacken, this is a big deal, and they were on the main stage, and they had like we had a 4 o'clock time slot, which was really a good time slot for a band at the level that Nevermore was at that time. And I remember getting up there and just be like, this is 34,000 people in a farm field. This is awesome. And, you know, getting up there and crushing and playing and having a great show. Another really good Nevermore show was our first time in Greece, playing in Thessaloniki. It was the first time the band had been to Greece, and the Metal Hammer Greece had voted Dead Heart and the Dead World as album of the year over Iron Maiden, which never happens in Metal Hammer Greece. Anytime Iron Maiden puts that album of the year, nobody else gets it, and Nevermore got it. It was a huge deal. So we play Thessaloniki, 3,000 people, big venue, and to hear them singing the melodies for like the Heart Collector, and they're louder than the PA.
Right.
That was fucking cool. So like for the Nevermore thing, there's that. Annihilator would probably be, we played a festival in Spain where the show was so good. Like we played so good. Jeff Waters couldn't say anything shitty or negative about anybody's performance. He walked off the stage and said that was the best this band has ever sounded, and walked away.
Nice.
So that was a cool thing. Like we all looked at each other, and because there were guys who'd been in the band longer than me, I'm like, has he ever said that? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, we're all gonna die tonight because cracking is a seventh seal.
Yes, you know? Right.
Right.
The comet's coming by. We're all gonna go to the mothership.
Yeah.
Right.
So there was that show, and then I mean, those have all been phenomenal shows. And probably my first festival show was Shatter Messiah in Chicago, Chicago Metal Fest. Was really exciting because we got invited to it. Like,
yeah,
who the fuck am I? I'm in this little new band that nobody knows about. And they're like, well, we want you to come and play. We weren't opening. We were like fourth on the bill. Like, cool.
Right.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, cool. What years were you in Nevermore? Like, did you ever open for King Diamond? I remember seeing King Diamond when Nevermore opened for them when they were at Cleveland. I think it was on the might have been Voodoo or Puppet Master. I can't remember which one, but it might have been Voodoo tour.
No, that was Tim Calvert from Forbidden. So I was in Nevermore twice. Once in '97 after Pat quit to join Cannibal Corpse. They hired me to play guitar for them, and we did the Politics of Ecstasy tour in Europe. And then they got Tim Calvert. They'd been waiting for Tim to get done with Forbidden. And then Tim, hey, I'm done. He moved up. And so they, fired me and got Tim.
Okay.
That's a painful story. But then after Tim quit, in like 98, 99, like he was in the band for like not even a year and then quit. They got me back in for Dead Heart and the Dead World tour. And so from like 99 all the way to like 2001, 2002, it's a little bit fuzzy. So I did all the Dead Heart and the Dead World tour, and I did a couple of shows with them for Enemies of Reality. And then right after that, I was already in Annihilator at that point. And so then I was in Annihilator from 2001 to like 2006.
Okay.
Did like 2 studio records and a live record with Annihilator. So
all those great bands, yeah, great music. Oh,
Well, yeah, what's the name of that live record? I have it. I just can't remember what it's
Double
called.
Live Annihilation.
Double Live Annihilation. Yeah, that's a good one, man. You guys sound good on that one.
We Jeff had us do 2 weeks of 8-hour rehearsals, 6 days a week. And then we went into a studio and we recorded the live set so that he could tear it apart and make like, oh, Curran, oh, because we were recording every fucking show on a 6-week tour of Europe.
Yeah.
And then he was going to take the best. This song did great. This night, this song did from that. So he had a huge amount of money laid out, and he was completely nerve-wracked that it was going to be a shitty live album. He was really freaked out about it. And so he did 2 things. He made the set really, 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 really long. Like we played for like an hour and 25 minutes every night. Because he was like, I'll have all these songs I can pick from, and so I can make a 40-minute record, 40-minute live album, was his thought, was his idea. And what ended up happening was we played so good that I think he used every song we did except for like one.
Okay.
That just it was like too long, or we're not going to do the ballad on there. There's something, I can't remember what song didn't make the live record, but that that Double Live Annihilation was really cool for me because I knew it was my rhythm guitar tracks on there. Like I could tell it was Curran playing guitar.
Right.
And Jeff mixed it great, and I sounded awesome.
Nice.
I need to revisit, man. It's been a long time since I listened to it, and I remember enjoying the set that's on there, like the curation of the songs. I thought that's a good one. Is a lot of people aren't. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, you got to be a special music fan to really be into live albums. I mean, like, I think maybe players are more into them than maybe the common fan, except for super fans. I think super fans are into them, but I think your average listener, like a live song, whatever, and I think that the songs selected on that particular release, I think, is an excellent span. I think it was very well laid out. I can remember getting that. Oh, geez. I think I got that record in like 2007. It's been a while though since I spun it. It's because I don't normally listen to live albums. It's just every once in a while I'll throw them on. And I do love them, especially if they're recorded in Cleveland. I have a weird thing about that. Like any live record from Cleveland, I gotta have it if it's rock or metal. Yeah, that's a solid one. I completely forgot about it until you mentioned that. So I got to get that one out, bust that out, check it out again.
Yeah.
I think a lot of bands sound better live than their energy doesn't fully get captured
It's
in
more
the studio
honest too.
I think so. Like Motorhead, I think was one of those bands that just sounded better live. I like their studio albums, but they're a live band. Just like Kiss was in the early days. They were a better live band.
Well, what's the album that broke Kiss? Kiss Alive.
Yeah, Kiss Alive, right?
Was it Kiss Alive or Kiss Alive 3 that really put them over the top?
Well, Alive was the first one that made them, go jillionaires.
Okay. See, I'm not a Kiss fan, so I'm not steeped in the history of the Kisses.
Right.
Yeah. That one came out because they were out of money. They were on that new Casablanca records. They had done 3 albums, and no, the records weren't selling, but they were doing great live shows. And so they thought, oh, we got one more chance. Let's make a live record. And they just, recorded all the shows, and then they fixed the mistakes in the studio, added a lot more live sound, and audience screams. And
love it. Fucking love it. And
it is a great album. It is, I think, some of the best, some of their best music. The Kiss Alive is great.
One of my favorite live records that didn't leave my Sony Walkman for like 5 months was Randy Rhoads Tribute.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, that's a great album.
That was my introduction to Ozzy Osbourne and to Randy Rhoads, was that cassette.
Okay.
I had no idea. I didn't know, blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, like Children of the Grave on that is just pummeled.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I used to play drums to that album.
And the Tommy Aldridge hand drum solo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tommy Aldridge is great.
So great. That's a great live record. And I don't know how much doctoring might have happened to that, but hopefully none, because I mean it happened after Randy had been killed in that plane crash.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great album. I like Speak of the Devil too.
Yeah, that's
with
Brad
Brad
Gillis.
Brad Gillis, playing guitar. It was
Yeah.
like, I mean, who would have thought? Was he Sister Christian, right?
I think
or
so.
no, Night Ranger, right? Or was it Night Ranger? Night Ranger?
It's Brad
Sister
Gillis.
Christian is a Night Ranger song.
Oh, right, Night Ranger. So yeah, I mean, who would have thought? I never once would imagine him be able to play those great heavy riffs. I mean, it's such a great album, and
it really is.
and,
It's a great record. It really is.
Speak the Devils is fantastic. So
really makes you want to eat jelly.
right, yeah, great cover too. Yeah. So Curran, you work really hard, to create your music. You put your heart and soul into it. How do you handle the inevitable negativity that is so prevalent on social media?
Oh, I sift through it and block it. I mean, so if you look at my Facebook feed or my Instagram feed, it's either Iken has cheeseburger cat memes, or it's guitar amp stuff, or it's dumb little music groups I belong to for tube amp building and tube amp repair. That's it. Somebody wants to get on there and tell me how stupid the Republicans are, how stupid the Democrats are,
right.
the Illuminati lizard overlords are flattening the earth to, pickle our brains. Get the fuck out of here. I don't care. None of it affects me. So,
right.
All right. I like that. You block it. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah, because I could be friends with somebody that's a psychotic Republican or a psychotic Democrat. I just don't need to know about their psychosis.
Exactly. Right.
Are you cool? Can we fucking hang out and have a drink and
right?
Do a barbecue? Or do you want to come into my home and tell me, how the AOC girl is trying to, have turn all the boys into girls? Like, get the fuck out of here with this shit. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you.
There you go. Sometimes you wish you had more middle fingers, right? Two's just not enough.
Yeah.
So you with all the stuff that you have done, you've been building amps for what, 4, 5, 6 years now?
Well, the company's been live and I've been taking people's money for amps for 4 years.
Okay.
So I started building amps in 2006.
Okay.
I took a class from Bruce Ignator. And
oh, nice.
He's still my Yoda, when Bruce, I can't get it to work. And he'll answer the phone. All right, Curran, have you tried this? No. Try that. Okay. It works. Thanks. It's always, and so I took a class from him in 06 and just kind of built my own stuff for me here in the studio here at Custom Audio Mutation. And what would always happen is I had this one amp, and it's now the 850M, the single channel high gain. Don't need to turn it into a plug fest or nothing, but
no, absolutely turn it into a plug fest.
I was going to talk to you about it anyway, so yeah, plug away, man.
But so it was just sitting in its chassis with no faceplate, no box, none of that, and bands would come in and they're like, what's that there? They're dual rectifiers sitting around, splons and 51, all these cool amps. I'm like, what the hell's that? I'm like, it's this amp I built. It's, I built this for myself. It's, works really well for me. I don't need a boost pedal, and the low end is right. And I really like how it sounds. I use it on all my stuff. And, can we try it? Sure. And they would want to use it.
Yeah.
Cool. Then it'd be like, well, hey man, do you like sell those? No, I never thought to sell those. So then I have to figure out, like, all right, how do I do faceplates and how do I do boxes? And
right.
And before I take anybody's money, is it going to survive on tour? So, well, I better take it out on tour and beat the hell. So like all my amps, that I have in my product line are, have all been, beaten to death on tour for 3 years.
Right.
Before I even took anybody's money on it. Cause I was really worried about, like, well, if I sell somebody something and it blows up, I'm a dick.
Right.
I mean, obviously I offer, a warranty with their 3-year warranty and all that cool shit. But, I don't want it to be that thing. Like, I bought it from some dude in his fucking basement. It's a piece of shit. I want it to be, no, man, this guy, he's in this house and he's turned it into a studio, and you go down into his shop and it's in the basement. And he builds these amazing amps. Oh, dude. Like, I want that to be.
Yeah. Right.
Custom Audio Mutation. It's like, it's this weird dude in the basement who builds amazing amps. And, oh, he also has a studio. Oh, he'll fix your guitar too. Oh, he can fix your old Marshall, all that fun stuff. Oh, he has a music store now. He's got Soldanos and Diesels and Friedmans just sitting there.
Yeah.
I like amps, I like guitars, I like gear. Fuck it. Come over, hang
Right.
out, make noise.
Right.
Nice,
Right.
excellent. So is that the best amp you make, or is that the one that seems to be most popular? If not, what is the best amp you make, and what makes it the best?
Well, the most popular one I build, the one that I've had the most sales on, that's what, let's gauge it off of how many have I sold, is the 850M2. So it's a 2-channel, 50-watt, heavy metal amp. It's a really tight, aggressive, saturated, clean channel, really tight low end, very percussive and articulate. And then it's got a really stiff, tight, clean sound that doesn't break up. Like on a Fender amp, you turn it up past about 4, you start to distort, get that cool blues thing. I hate that. I need a clean sound, and I want it to be tube. And so the way I design the clean circuit, I use like a 1.5 tubes for the clean channel. So there's lots of headroom, no distortion, it doesn't break up, and it's kind of voiced like a Vox, because I love Vox amplifiers. They're so cool, but they distort too early. They distort way too early and easy. So that's the most popular one. Plus, it's got the full tube effects loop, which Bruce Ignator, again, Yoda, just gave me the circuit design. He's like, here, what? Why? He's like, because I can't get them into my amps, but I know that you'll put them in yours and you'll do it how it's supposed to be done. Thanks, Bruce.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's 50 watts. That's all you need. You don't need 100 watts, 100.
I concur.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit. It's not twice as loud. It's not 3 times as loud. It's 5%.
You're not playing a stadium. Don't fucking need no 120-watt amp.
Even then, you still don't need it. That's what the PA.
Yeah, they mic.
Right,
they
so the
mic
PA's
things
for.
these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an old Vox Buckingham with the spring reverb. That was it was a beautiful sounding amp. When I bought it, it was from like a friend of a friend kind of thing, and he used it in a bluegrass band, and it was a carpenter, so he had covered it in gray shag carpeting, the head and the cabinet. So I just it was like Cousin It, it was just this gray shag thing. I'm like, what the hell? But then he played it, and I heard it. I'm like, oh, it sounded a lot like as Jimi Hendrix described a jelly roll. It was just beautiful and clean, but it could handle distortion well. And that real spring reverb, it was like, oh man, yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So I love building amps. I have I think I have 7 in my product line now. So there's the 850M2. There's the 850M, which was the weird little one that was sitting in the corner in the studio for years. That's just the single channel, ridiculous high gain monster that I have. So there's the 850M, the 850M2. There's the Super Plexi 50, which I'm an amp builder, and so you study the classics. You have, because again, look, I keep calling back to Bruce Ignator. When I was first talking to him about starting an amp company, and I was like, oh, but it just seems so confusing and complicated. He's like, oh, Curran, it's so easy. You can only wire a tube up 4 different ways before it doesn't work. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we're all doing the same thing. And he walks away. I'm like, God damn it. Love it. But the Super Plexi 50, looking at, Marshalls through the ages, they're all fucking identical. They really are.
Right.
But there are some component changes and some things, obviously the leap from the Plexi, the 1959 or 1987 to the 2203 or 2204 Jason 800.
Right.
Was their answer to the one wire mod that was happening, but they used the same circuit board.
Yeah.
What? And then, again, like the JTM 50, the Black Flag amp, the JTM 45, the 1959 or 1987, they're all essentially the same amp with just some little component tweaks here and there. And I'm like, well, why can't you put all that in one box? Yeah. Well, it turns out you can. Yeah. So that's what the Super Plexi 50 is. And then I put the two buffered effects loop in it, because in this day and age, most guys need a good effects loop.
Right.
And so that's what that is. It's just every Marshall that I want in one little box. And then the last head amp that I build is the Cam 842, which has KT88s in it, is ungodly loud and has a Fender style clean channel, and then a super, super high gain distortion channel, because I've seen some guitar players struggle on the 850M too. So a little too tight and revealing, and it doesn't smear with distortion you're playing.
Right.
So either guys really dig it, like, oh, I can finally hear everything, it's articulate and this and that, or guys like, man, it's really kind of hard to play on this amp. All right, well, here's the 842. Try that. Maybe you'll like it. Oh, yeah, I like
Right.
that. Great, buy one. And then I build a combo. I do a signature series combo for Freddie DeMarco. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's a phenomenal guitar player down here. And just a 22-watt dual channel combo. Put it in a little Fender looking box, and high gain channel, clean channel. What the hell's going on here? Yeah. And then I do my vintage recreations, of course, because I do the like a JCM 800, and I do a plexi build, chirp board construction, hand wired, all that good fun stuff. I do that because I'm mad at reverb listings, where I see kids on these amplifier forums, on these, like the heavy metal amp forum that is on Facebook. That, Vic, you're probably a member of.
I probably am.
Where it's like getting ready to pull the trigger on a JCM 800. I'm so excited. It's like, well, what are you going to pay for? $3,800.
Yeah, right.
I want to kill people, because I'm like, I get, this is no goof, in my shop, in my repair shop, I get in between 4 to 8 Marshalls a month. And it's almost always a $400 to $600 bill, not including tubes. Needs recapped, needs unmodded, it needs unfucked, it's been violated, it's been, there's horrors have gone on to this amp that shouldn't be, and I get to undo all that for people. And it's like, you're going to buy a $3,400, $3,800 used amp off Reverb, and then have to take it to a tech and
immediately,
another 4 to 6.
Right.
And it's like, so I know what the cost is on an amp like that. I know what I can sell one for, and I know that I can build the original circuit and give it a better ground scheme, use better components. It'll be quieter, a noise floor, no ground loop hums, things like that won't be there. Give somebody a 3-year warranty, $1,600.
Wow.
Right.
Well, I know who I'm coming to next time I need to buy an amp.
Yeah, it doesn't. I've never.
I'm serious. I got a little Fender amp that I've had for 20 years, maybe a little more. That was a practice amp, but I've not. I mean, once I sold my Vox, I never got another big amp again. But for that kind of price, that Flex one, the Flex was at the 350.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds like, I think I might want.
Yeah,
that's
the thing, and I've always thought that, Curran, is the used market, for JCM 800s in particular, is kind of outlandish when you can buy an American-made clone with better components.
Yeah,
because they're newer. Because that's the difference, here. Like, it's not like you're buying, a Chinese-made one or something.
Right.
You can get an American-made clone with new components, which are going to last you. When you buy a used JCM, I've heard so many people say it. You buy a used JCM 800, you almost have to immediately take it in and have it serviced, like almost instantaneously. There's always they come with problems.
Right.
And I don't know why. You're paying for the name.
You're paying for the name. That's it. Right.
And I don't pay for a name. I pay for
exactly.
I pay for the function, not the form.
Right.
And so, like, I just had a guy send me from Texas. A guy in Texas sent me a JCM 800 2204 50-watt, and he's like, "Oh, it doesn't sound right. It's all messed up. This and that, and it's got a million mods in it. It's all screwed up. Effects loop poorly installed. Just heartbreaking."
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to put it back to stock first to make sure that the bones of this thing are good. Because if not, we got another discussion to have.
Yeah,
about
right.
Your amp you're sending me. Put it back to stock, and I send him a video. He's like, none of my other Marshalls sound like that. I'm like, well, all your other Marshalls probably need service or have been violated in some unnatural way, So,
and another thing too is like the new JCM 100 price tag is outlandish as well. Again, it's why would you pay half of that to get a as good as, or in most cases better version? So,
well, and that's the thing I tell the kids on these forums and stuff. I'm like, look, man, you can't throw a rock in most towns without hitting a guy who can build a tube amp good. Why don't you do a Google search? Go to music stores and, hey, do you know anybody that builds tube amps? Oh, we got this weird guy down the street that does it. Oh, well, ask him to build you an 800. If it's if it's anything over $2,000, he's overcharging you. It's like, you know, I can sit here and rant all day about that.
No, that's good, man. No, we're learning a lot. No, that's cool. I mean, I think that you're taking your passions and what you do, not just music, but you turn it, your love for the music and for making good product, and then you made, this is what you're making a business. The same thing with guitar repair. I mean, I got a Flying V that I bought when I was in college, an Antares Flying V. That's going to need complete redone top to bottom someday. It's like, I would trust you to take care of it because of everything you said. Like, you know how to do it. I mean, I don't take it to anyone because I haven't really had a need to get it fixed, but it needs new pots. It needs probably rewiring. It needs new pickups. Probably needs a new fretboard. The whole thing. The machine heads. I mean, the saddle. I would probably just gut it. I just want to keep the body. And I would probably just say, okay, here, Curran, make it scream.
Make me a clock.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's awesome.
Thanks.
That's
You,
really cool.
you just opened a storefront, like a physical storefront that you had mentioned.
Brick and mortar?
I had seen.
Well, so here at Custom Audio Mutation, right? Okay, so I bought this house like 17 years ago, and I converted it into a recording studio. So I've got the control room. I've got a 550 square foot loud room, vocal isolation booth. So that's all been in here since 2007, something like that, 2008 maybe. And then I started the amp company, and I run the amp company out of here. And then people said, well, I don't want to buy an amp, but I need my amp fixed. I can learn how to fix amps. So I'll help you out. Because apparently there's nobody within 3 or 4 states that either repairs amps or is any good at it, which is very weird. But, I hear horror stories. People bring me stuff. And they're like, oh, God. I'm like, let's look at it first. See, well, it's fixable, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, I've been building guitars since I was 19. So, all of those skills, refrets and fret wiring, and, guitars are very, very simple to keep working right. And the upkeep on them is not much. But, so I do all that. And the music store I actually have here as well, because, the house, I've got a dining room and a living room with nothing in them. So I painted the walls, threw down new carpet, and I am a Soldano dealer, Friedman dealer, Diesel dealer, Mezzabarba out of Italy, really cool high gain stuff. Synergy, those amps with like the little plug-in and
I've got the single unit.
Oh, you got the Sin 1? Yeah, I just sold a Sin 2, the rack mount one. And the new Soldano module, and the new I call it the Insane Clown Posse module, but it's that Mesa Boogie, the 2 CP or whatever it is, the Mark II Plus module they have. So
that's what I have, the Soldano module. I'm hoping that they either make their own orange module, or just, I would love to see that preamp section make it, because they've got everything else. Those guys have everything.
The funny thing is, when Gibson bought out Boogie, one of the lead techs at Boogie quit, and Synergy snapped him up. So he's working over at Synergy.
Oh, wow.
That's how that Mark II C Plus module came to be, because he was the guy who built that amp.
Nice.
So that's an interesting and cool thing about Boogie. Like, when I have Boogies in here to fix, they're very hard to fix, very hard to work on, but I have a really good rapport with the Boogie guys. And so I'll call my guy, Rich. I'm like, hey, Rich, dude, you got any tips on what might be going on with this? Because there's always something like, yeah, they always do this. All right, well, he's like, well, let me get you on the phone with the guy who built that amp. What? Yeah, we, like the Tremo Verbs, we had one guy build them. Why? So he knows everything about them. Like, what happens if he gets hit by a fucking bus? I will work it out when he gets hit by a bus. I'm like, all right, okay. But that I always thought was really interesting with Boogie, where they have like one guy who did all that amp. The one guy who made the Mark IV and knows all about the Mark IV, and it's very, very curious, very interesting company. Nice. So anyhow, so Synergy has the Boogie guy now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Recto module, and the newer orange stuff really just, I think, is, if I looked at the schematics, I think they really are just kind of dual rack 5150 kind of things, but with a different power section or different output transformers. Always a big part of the flavor and character of an amp. So
cool. All right, Curran, I want to ask you some hypothetical situations here.
Fire away.
All right. An alien shows up and ask you to represent metal in 3 songs, what would those songs be and why?
Ooh. 3 songs to represent all of metal. Well, let's see here. So the obvious easy one for me would be the song One by Metallica, because it shows the dynamic of what metal can do, the thought process into recording something like that, because like the acoustic sections have 20 some guitars going on. It's very orchestrated. It's brilliant. And then the heaviness and the all of that cool stuff and the drum sound and everything. But that would be probably song number 1. I'd have to go with my boys in the Nevermore, and I'd have to say Engines of Hate would be another phenomenal metal song to show berserk intensity, berserk heavy guitar aggression.
Yeah.
With super powerful, exciting, melodic vocals that, aren't cheesy or silly, but that are impassioned. Like that was one of my favorite things about Worrell was, he was a singer, but his what he wrote lyrically was always exciting and interesting. And like, I took different stuff from it than what Worrell intended. He intended something. So the multi-layer, the multi-dimensionality of metal with, this is what I get from the song when I hear, this song by this band, and somebody else would say, well, no, I get this. So there would be that. And then again, the technical proficiency, the incredible drumming of Van, the big melodic guitar solo in the middle, the, implementation of cool keyboards, stuff like that. Then for the third heavy metal song, I would have to say something like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath by Black Sabbath. Because Rob Zombie said it best. Tony Iommi wrote every heavy metal riff in the history of ever. All of us are just playing it faster or slower and in a different tuning.
Yeah.
And that song is one of the coolest, heaviest riffs of ever.
Yeah.
Awesome vocals. The bridge. I mean, just get the fuck out. They are the blueprint. They were the originators. They created. It's all their fault. Everything I do is
damn you, Ozzy! Right.
It's the same thing I tell, these fucking young whippersnappers that roll in and go, who the fuck's Eddie Van Halen? I'm like, well, your 5150 will tell you if you look at the fucking latest. What do you mean?
Oh no.
Yeah.
You really get that?
It's amazing. Amazing.
Man.
I don't understand why everybody cares about that old grandpa rock guy that died. I'm like, well, why don't you talk to the humbucker in the bridge position of your super strat with your 24 frets and your whammy bar? Because that's all Eddie Van Halen.
Yep.
Right. All those mods that he did when he was Frankensteining his guitars, right?
Yep. Every single thing.
Yeah.
The high gain, the 5150.
Yeah.
He revolutionized everything, and all he wanted was an amp that sounded better.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
You can't not appreciate how much that guy tweaked with shit with like doing the brown sound.
Yeah. If you ever see that original Kramer that he had, the first one where he was fucking with, it's like you see the back of it, you see all the stuff that he did to it. It's like, oh my God, that's just, I mean,
how did it work? How does this still work?
Yeah, he just tore it apart and just learned everything about.
If I do something like that to a guitar, it doesn't work anymore.
Right. Yeah,
There's
it's like
no Frankenstein. It's just
where we had to
throw it in the garbage. It's done.
Yeah, we had to repair a lawnmower engine, and I took it apart really well, but I put it back together, and I had a bucket full of parts. Like, what the fuck, man?
That's never a good sign.
No,
yeah, right.
No, which is why I haven't taken my guitar apart and tried to fix it.
Yeah,
I know I'm missing something. Oh, the strings. Yes, yeah. All right. Okay, another hypothetical for you. If you could go back in time and see one classical composer conduct a piece of music, who would the composer be?
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Nice, because he was the fucking rock star of his day,
He was.
Yeah, he really was.
The guy who was never he was never like hired as a court composer or as somebody's bitch to like, hey, I need a couple pieces of music whipped up for this weekend.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah, there were patrons. He wrote things for kings and
Yeah.
stuff, but they were patronage. You know, like they
Yeah,
paid him.
They didn't
Yeah.
own him. They didn't have him.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And have you ever seen any of his stuff performed live? Any of his? Yeah.
Yep.
Have you seen any of his operas?
The Magic Flute.
Yes,
But
that's
it's got
awesome.
That one thing with it.
Yeah,
where
Magic Flute's great.
It's like, how can a human being do that?
Yes.
And much less, how can a human being compose it?
Yeah.
Pull it out of literally out of thin air. Now there's been some research on his compositional work, and they say that a lot of it is his compositional work is symptomatic of a mechanical and mathematical mind, where he understood music theory and would just put it together like, 2 + 2 = 4. Well, of course,
right.
And this is how this should be written.
Yeah,
and that's music.
I hate
Yeah.
math. That's
Yeah,
why I
yeah,
write
right.
shitty songs.
yeah. He's like the early savant. That just excelled, and I think he wrote his first symphony at like age 5 or something.
Yeah,
like
Just
it's just like fuck me. Right, complete
complete
symphony.
Yeah, complete other level of brain skill.
Yeah.
You know?
Like one of my favorites of his
Yeah.
is his symphony number 5. I think he wrote when he was 6 or something. And I'm like, because there was a part where it sounds like pretty heavy, like, oh, that sounds like it almost could be like a metal riff. And I'm like, Jesus, kid, you were in kindergarten, for 6 years old and writing this shit. I'm like,
I was recording a band here at the studio. This girl singer, guitar player, and she had it was like alternative, kind of mildly rocky. It was not Lisa Loewe or whatever the heck that stuff is. But her bass player brought her in here because she's like, well, you're this metal guy. How the fuck are you going to record me? I'm not metal. I'm like, I'm going to record you by putting mics in front of you. That's not. She's like, okay, you're not going to try to make me sound metal, are you? I'm like, why would I? That's not my job.
Right.
Well, so we were one night after a session, we were hanging out, drinking, talking, and playing her some stuff that I was working on, and she's like, you know what heavy metal is? I'm like, no, what is it? She's like, it's just classical music with distortion.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's all
No,
I
that's
hear.
that's a very common.
Yeah, that's all I hear.
I always hear it.
Yeah, it's like you put distortion on Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Ga, 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 ga.
Right.
So yeah, all right, I'll take it. I'll take that
yeah.
as a compliment.
1812 Tchaikovsky. That's not fucking metal. I mean, you got cannons going on, for Christ's sake. Yeah. All right. Last hypothetical.
Okay.
If you could be any superhero for 24 hours, who would you be, and what would you do with your day of power?
Day of power.
Yeah.
Day of power.
Got 1 day of superpowers, man. Who are you going to be, and what are you going to do?
I'd be Thor, and I would travel the cosmos. Just to check it out.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. You
don't have to breathe.
You have the hammer. You can go to all the realms. Why not, right?
Yeah.
I'd go on tour.
Nice. Excellent. There you go. So, are you a horror movie fan?
I am not. I get too scared.
Really?
I'm a total fucking wimp. Total wimp.
Well, okay. No, that's
fair
cool,
enough.
Man. Yeah.
I got my Disney Plus. So I get all my Marvel, all my fucking Star Wars, all my fucking old classic Disney cartoons.
Disney Plus may be the best streaming channel of all of them. I mean, there's so much content in there. Jesus,
I think so. Yeah, I think that right now for me, it's also leading the charge.
Yeah, and then plus I do the extendo package thing, and I got with the ESPN Plus, so I can butch it up a little bit,
Yeah.
So
you can be a tough guy. Yeah, we
know, because the wife comes in, she's like, "What? You're watching Snow White again?" I'm like, "Don't judge me."
No, it was a sports. Live sports.
No, go Steelers. Go Steelers.
Oh, that's great.
And then you get the Hulu as well, which has like good stuff on it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. We're just gonna do some one-offs. These could be anything. What one song do you wish you'd written and recorded instead of the group or artist who did?
God. Battery. I love that tune. Just
it is super aggressive. It's really good.
The chuggy wuggy and all the gallopy, the clever way. it's essentially one riff, and they made
Right.
one of the best opening album songs of ever. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's got it all.
Mhm.
I think, anyways.
All right. Which celebrity would you most like to have a drink with? Doesn't have to be from the world of music, just any celebrity.
Christopher Walken.
He's gonna get some more.
I think he would be an interesting hang over a bottle of wine. Just wouldn't even want to talk about movies, or just hang and talk.
And listen to him talk. That's the
You'd want to listen to him talk a little bit, but you might consider interrupting to say, Chris, I had a long pause.
yeah.
And he would tell you the story about why his parents, first generation immigrants, came to America. And they had a store, and English is a second language. So they would have to pause in between statements and translate in their mind into English from their native tongue. And that's why I have this cadence when I talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just, it
would be beautiful. It would be even more beautiful if you actually talked like him to him.
Oh no, he hates that. He hates that, man. They had comedians, they like interviewed comedians, they're like, hey, you do a good Chris Walken. It's like, I do. Hey, Christopher Walken is here. No, I still want to work in this business. Like, yeah, it's funny. I've heard it.
Yeah,
I do that voice when I open my mouth. Okay.
Yeah,
that's right. Exactly. Okay, Curran, do you have any hidden talents? If so, tell us one.
Let's see here, hidden talents. God, I don't know. Hidden talents. No, probably not.
Okay.
I think everything's up on the table. So
Okay, we're gonna play a game. One of our several games we're gonna play with you. This is called Blast Beats. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions. You don't have to think. You just give the answers. We're just gonna roll them right off. Blast Beats.
Okay.
Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
Paperback or Kindle?
Paperback.
Your favorite streaming service? I think we know that one now.
Disney Plus.
Yeah. Favorite holiday?
Ooh, Christmas.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate.
Dog or cat?
Cat.
Avengers or Justice League?
Avengers.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Ooh, Star Wars.
Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster?
Loch Ness Monster.
How do you like your steak cooked?
Correctly.
Okay.
No. Medium rare.
Medium rare. All right. Finally another medium rare person. Yes. Your favorite sport?
Football.
Favorite movie snack?
Little chocolate covered raisins. Goobers. Is it Goobers or is it Raisinets?
Raisinets. Yeah.
I think Goobers
Goobers are the
also
peanuts. They're the
the
peanuts.
peanuts. Okay.
Right.
Which is a close second.
Fair
All
enough.
right. Yeah.
Chocolate covered things.
Yes.
You ever pour them into your popcorn?
No, I don't like I like my savory and my sweet separate. So like when I eat a steak, I don't want dessert. I don't want to ruin what's left going on in the mouth.
So no Payday candy bars?
Oh, I like Payday, but I'm not eating a Payday after a steak. Why would
I hear you, man.
Betray the memory of the cow that gave its life so I could eat its fucking haunch.
Yeah. Your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Your least favorite subject in school?
English.
Favorite board game?
Monopoly.
Really?
Excellent. Yeah, mine too. Worst phobia?
Ooh, spiders.
Okay. Spielberg or Tarantino?
Tarantino.
Favorite season of the year?
Autumn.
And your favorite Christmas gift?
Oh, that I ever received?
Yeah.
Oh, the Millennium Falcon for my 11th Christmas.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
Your celebrity crush?
Oh, I don't think of celebrities that way. Let's see here. Think of them as weird, smooth down there, sexless robots.
Well, I'm glad I'm sitting down. That's all I got to say. When you describe that.
Favorite or celebrity crush, you say?
Yeah. Could have been from any time, even when if you were younger.
Trying to think. Winona Ryder.
Okay.
Fair
And then
enough.
lastly, your favorite line from This Is Spinal Tap.
Oh, he wrote this. So when they're at the zoo and they have the puppet show they're playing with,
yeah.
and then Nigel has quit, and the bass player's like Derek Smalley or whatever. He's like, what about we go out and play Jazz Odyssey? And, and
Jazz Odyssey.
And St. Hubbins is like, we're not about to go out in front of a festival audience and play a 20-minute voyage of sound. We're not going to do it. And then they go out
Freeform
like,
jazz exploration.
Yeah, freeform jazz exploration. And then there's like 20 people there, and they're playing it, and the bass player, he's getting it, and it's like, this is called, what's it's called, Jazz Odyssey. He wrote this, and it's such an accusation. It's such an accusation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's Spinal Tap is just awesome. Have you seen the Blu-ray with the audio commentary by Spinal
Yes.
Tap?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Oh,
I own
yes.
it. Great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So much good.
Yeah, I got to get that. I
Yes.
have to get that
Yes,
on
you
that one.
do.
He would always only show the worst shows. What about the shows where everybody showed up? What about the shows where we found the stage? Like
Right.
you never see that. He doesn't show
Yes.
that. Oh no, he shows the one time that we get lost in Cleveland. The one time.
Yeah. They came to Cleveland in '92 on the Break Like the Wind tour. Did you see them then?
No.
Oh,
I was living in Seattle, I think.
Okay, yeah, I saw them. They were played at Nautica,
Right.
And when David St. Hubbins, came on, or Derek Smalls came out on stage, he did the fist, hello Cleveland, and of course, I mean, you have to, right? You have to, Spinal Tap. Yeah, that was a great show, man. They played like 2 hours, and they did an urban version of Sex Farm where they did like rapping and stuff, which was really great. They did Stonehenge. I mean, and they're like waiting for the Stonehenge. They're like waiting to look down, and like a UPS guy comes off stage with a box, and they open the box, and there's Stonehenge inside the box, and they set it down. I'm like, oh.
Well,
God,
you want to
they
know
had
what's
it.
funny is that that movie, the live music performances were all shot in Seattle, I think at the Moore Theater, and the rehearsal space where all the metal bands would rehearse, all the Spinal Tap props had been left there.
Oh wow.
And we're out back just rotting. So that giant skull was out there for 30 fucking years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's a shame. I mean, that's criminal.
Yeah,
man.
really.
You should have. I mean, anyone could have taken that, man, and used that. My God.
It's so weird. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. All right, we got another game we're gonna play with you. It's called the Hot Seat, and I'm gonna name a band, and I want you to tell me your favorite album by that band.
Okay.
All right, Black Sabbath.
This might get me into some fucking trouble.
Okay, this is
Black Sabbath would be volume 4.
okay. Yeah, but see, we usually call it the
You
Hot
don't get
Seat.
to ask that one, Montag.
What?
You didn't get to ask the band, and what is that? He just told you right now. It's Black Sabbath, and it's volume 4.
Volume
We're done
4.
with this game. We're done with the game. So
It's over. Yeah, I mean
that was
they
it.
Win. Black Sabbath.
That's the
wins.
only band, and that's the only album. Done.
Yeah, because people tend to squirm on this one, like they like get uncomfortable, like so that's why we call it the Hot Seat.
I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm gonna be honest. If you ask me about a band, I'm gonna be like, yeah.
No, that's cool, man. That's what we want. I mean, this is not judgmental. It's like we all like what we like. We all don't like what we don't
My wife's
like.
gonna be so mad. She's like, Curran, you gotta be the cool guy. You can't do that. I'm like, what? Fuck that.
Yes,
I can't be myself.
Fuck them.
Yeah. Welcome to Maryland.
Well,
right?
no, because sometimes she's like, well, what if somebody who was gonna buy one of your amps is a huge, that band fan, and now you just shit all over their favorite band and they don't buy an amp from you? I'm like, God, she's fucking right. But man, I still hate that fucking band.
Yeah. Well, we're just gonna say your favorite album by that band. If you don't like them, it's okay. You can say I don't know them, or I don't know what album I would like, and we can play it that way. Or but if
Oh
you really
no,
wanna
I'm gonna let you know. I fucking hate
okay.
that band.
All right, sounds good. Judas Priest.
Painkiller. That was my introduction to Judas Priest.
Oh, Jesus,
Nice.
what an album, man! Right?
Again, I'm a late bloomer. Then I go back and I buy all the
Good
records.
introduction.
Yeah, great introduction to that band.
Amazing.
One of the best albums.
Yeah.
Scorpions.
I don't like the Scorpions.
Okay, the
I'm not a
Beatles.
fan. Beatles would be Rubber Soul.
Okay.
It was that transition period where they were going away from the sugar pop.
Yes.
Right.
the new thing, and I
Yeah.
love that it's still the Beatles, but you
Mhm.
can tell it's transitioning.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when they hit Revolver, then it's kind of that transitions there. You
Yeah,
know,
and-
right.
yeah, they're not just taking a left turn, they're taking 2 left turns and still ending up right. Like, wow,
Exactly. Yeah.
great.
Okay. Rush.
Ooh, the album that has YYZ on it.
Moving Pictures.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
That's probably their
Opeth.
most popular one,
Oh,
right? That's
sorry.
got like all the hits from the 70s on it and stuff.
Well, it
but-
came out in 1981, but yes,
Okay.
that's the album that's their most popular for.
All right. Yeah,
that
see,
one,
I'm
really
not
put
a-
them into a stratosphere.
I'm not a Rush authority. I'm
Okay.
a Rush respecter. Like obviously Neil Peart. I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Mhm.
The Professor, man. I taught myself how to play drums by listening and playing along to Moving Pictures, and
Right.
so
Right.
it's like that was how I learned how to
Right.
play,
And,
so
and,
yeah, I get it.
and Geddy Lee is a phenomenal bass player. I didn't like his tone on the earlier records and the later albums. I think he really started to get a tone that was like, oh wow, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for his vocals, of course, but how else would that stuff be sung? So it's one of those
Right.
funny things. Like I may not like the vocals, but I could never see it done another way.
Sure.
Right.
You know? And
Right.
the less said about Alex Lifeson, the better. So
Okay. Opeth.
oh, I toured with those guys, Blackwater Park, because that was the tour that Nevermore and Opeth were co-headlining, and that was the tour where Opeth was breaking, and we
Mhm.
each had 45-minute sets, and they could only play 5 songs.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and we would always play after. You know, we were co-headlining and everything, but they would always play before us, and we're like, "Fuck, man!" They're saying play one more, and Mika would be like, "We can't. It'd be another 12 minutes."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, like, no, go ahead, fuck it. We're too drunk to play.
Okay. King Diamond.
Ooh, King Diamond. Ooh. The album would have to be Abigail.
Okay. Great album.
And because that was my introduction to King Diamond when he came through and did the tour.
Mm.
And I took Lisa, my wife, as a surprise. We went up to Detroit to watch them play that whole album, right? With the Abigail, with
Mhm.
the baby in the crib and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
The little
And
bitch, baby Abigail.
Yeah, and I didn't know anything. I mean, I knew King Diamond. I knew about King Diamond and this and that, but I was like, it's not my bag of Cheetos, and I don't like how the records sound like that. You'll notice this reoccurring theme. But live, it was the most enjoyable, cinematic,
Mhm.
theatrical without being cheesy. And Andy LaRocque, what are we
Right.
talking about over here? The guy
Right.
is so good,
Mhm.
and his tone and impeccable ability, and they were great.
Mhm.
So the Abigail record, so any song off of the Abigail album, I mean, I looked, it's one big song because
Oh yeah, it's a great
short.
album.
It's like, what's your favorite chapter in Lord of the Rings? Oh, the one where the good hobbits defeat the bad orc guys. I don't know. Like, no, man, it's the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Right.
Right. No, I get it. And Diamond's another great front man. I mean, he really works with the crowd and really
and
interacts with the crowd and makes
he
the
sells
individual
it.
contact and lets you know that he appreciates you.
Sells it. He sells it so well. Because let's really boil it down. He's a 60-year-old man in clown makeup with a cross inverted human bone cross. How dumb and corny and stupid is this really? It's not. It's fucking awesome.
Yes, it is.
Have you not seen what this guy does? It's
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Right.
And that's the difference between, yeah, okay, it's a cool band to it's fucking King Diamond, man.
Yeah, we had Matt Thompson on a few months back, and just such a cool guy. Really, really cool. So Diamond's supposed to come on sometime after the new album comes out. He's slated. We're on his list, so we're looking forward to talking with the King.
Awesome.
So that'll be great. Okay, just a few more on this hot
Sure,
seat.
fire away, fire
Iron Maiden.
Power Slave. No, wait, nope. Live After Death, because they played a whole bunch of songs off of Power Slave, and that's a great live record.
Yeah.
Scream for Me, Long Beach. Baby.
That's right. Exactly.
Baby.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Testament.
Oh my God. Low.
Oh yeah. Well,
It
that's
was
my
the-
favorite.
it was during the dark times when metal wasn't cool.
Right.
I was living in Seattle, and Alex Skolnick had quit, who's one of my hero guitar players. And I just was devastated. I'm like, oh, Testament's over. It's never going to be any good. But it was the best thing in the world to happen for Testament and for Alex Skolnick, for him to quit the band. They got James Murphy in. Chuck Billy started singing how he wanted to sing. They started playing how they wanted to play. They got John Tempesta on drums, another incredible sounding drum kit, analog, no triggers, tape. Oh, that album is flawless. Perfect record.
It is phenomenal. All right, Queensryche.
Not a fan.
Okay. Anthrax.
Ooh, and they've had a couple. Dude, I'll tell you that worship music records are really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
But I suspect some digital chicanery. So let's get back to the real on that. Let's talk.
Well, the real Anthrax, please sound up.
Let's talk about State of Euphoria.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, now I know Spreading the Disease and Among the Living, those are brilliant albums. And State of Euphoria, there's just something about that album. It's probably because that was my first Anthrax record. But there's a chord, Vic, you know about the chord, the be all end all chord.
Yeah.
You do that stack with the power chord thing.
Right.
Where you're getting the 4 strings.
Yeah.
That sound was one of the heaviest things I'd ever heard.
Okay.
For a 17-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid living in Elkhart, Indiana, like, what's this Anthrax band? And you put it in.
Right. Yeah. That fucking song is tough as fuck too.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the albums with John Bush. I think Stomp.
I think those are great records.
442 is great. Really good albums, man.
Again, there was a lot during the dark times, when everybody proclaimed metal dead and grunge was hot for, the year and a half it was popular for.
Yeah, right.
And then, but grunge killed metal for 20 years. What? I'm sorry, what? There were still great records being made. And I know bands shifted and changed and had to do different stuff. And, they're trying to be grunge and this and that. It's like, well, are they trying to be grunge, or are they now just free to kind of do what they want to do with what they are able to do?
Right.
Because when, a singer like Joey Belladonna quits or gets fired or whatever, the hell do you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
How ballsy is it to go in a completely different direction and get a singer like John Bush?
Right.
Right.
And then go and write a bunch of really good, heavy.
Yeah, because their sound really changed.
Ooh.
It was those albums. Yeah, that's the first time I saw Anthrax. I think the first time I saw them, I think it was on John Bush was singing. No. It was the first time with on the Time tour. They opened for Iron Maiden. And then I saw him again on that same weekend of the World Series of Metal. It was in Cleveland. It was Anthrax, fucking Cannibal Corpse, and the Misfits were the 3 big bands on that Sunday night. And that was one with John Bush, and God, they sounded good, man. Yeah. So excellent. Okay, just a few more on this list here. Megadeth.
Rust in peace.
All right. And
it is phenomenal record. I can put it on right now and just be like,
right. It's still good. I mean, those first 2 tracks are like, Holy Wars is just so complicated and so many time changes. And then Hangar 18. I mean, how many fucking guitar solos can you have in one song?
And I mean, Tornado of Souls, that whole song is incredible. The guitar solo, nobody can do it but Marty. Nobody.
That solo is that's probably my favorite solo of all time. And when he came through on the solo record,
to the Grog Shop, you were there at the Grog Shop. Was it the funniest, most smart-ass rock and roll fucking thing that he ever did when they busted into that solo? And then on the lick that nobody can get, he turned around, he turned his back to the audience.
Yeah. I was too busy.
Every guitar player in that room was like, oh, because we were all gonna we're gonna get it. We're gonna get the sauce. He's gonna show us the juice.
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah,
That's
I was too
fantastic.
busy. I was too
Brilliant.
busy wiping tears out of my eyes because I never thought I'd get to hear him play that solo live.
And
So
his band, they were so good, and it was
Very
so
good.
fun, and he had such a great attitude about all that stuff. Like, he knew people wanted to hear him play Megadeth stuff, and he incorporated it so
Mhm.
seamlessly, so smartly. That whole Megadeth record and everything Marty did with them, just absolutely flawless. Heavy
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah, I reached out to him, asked him to be on the show. I never heard back yet, so maybe one day. You never know.
it takes
For
a while for emails to get to Japan.
Right.
Yeah, there's
exactly.
time zone difference.
Sure,
Yeah,
exactly.
We got to travel through the time,
Right. I ask only
fight off
twice.
some kaiju. So
After 2 times, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I no need to run my head into the wall. And the last one, Slayer,
Well, Diablos in Music.
Diablos Music, right? Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about that. I was going to ask Kiss, but since you said you're not a fan,
Yeah,
but,
I'm just I respect the hell out of Kiss. I'll tell you, I had to learn a couple of Kiss songs for a band, a couple of Kiss covers for a show, and like I learned Cold Gin, Detroit Rock City, and there was another, I think it was another Ace Frehley one, but they're really clever rock songs. They're really well done. I mean,
Yeah.
Detroit Rock City is an E major. Who does that? Who the fuck does that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And the harmonies are clever. They're smart. They're interesting. Little. It's not just thirds and fifths and following them. It was clever
Yeah.
guitar work. So I gained a lot of respect for what Kiss does. So yeah, I mean, well, what the hell? Kiss Alive 3. I've never heard it. It's probably great.
all right.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Cool. All right. And our last game, this is called Name That Festival. All right. So Shatter Messiah is playing at a festival with 2 other bands. We're going to find out when I spin the wheel of mystery. And I want you to come up with the name of the festival that all 3 of you are playing at. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here so that you can see.
So I get to make up the name of a festival. I get to
Yes, you get the name, make up the name of the festival. That is right.
All right.
Okay. So here we go. We are spinning.
You're spinning this, or I'm spinning this? Or
I'm spinning it. Yeah.
Magic. All right.
All right. The first band you are playing with is the Beach Boys.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Excellent.
Yes.
So the Beach Boys, Shatter Messiah, and who's the last one? Looks like Thomas Dolby.
The fuck is Thomas Dolby?
He blinded me with science, or she blinded me with science. He also did Hyperactive, a big keyboard guy in the 80s.
Oh, all right, okay. So here's the name of the festival. It's real simple. It's Sand, Satan, and Science.
Okay.
2022.
Sand and Science.
The Satanic Sand Scientist Fest 2022.
It's got to come out on June 6th, right?
Right.
Obviously. Exactly.
No. Let's really correlate it to something stupid. May 9th. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why May
Super-
9th? Think about it.
Yeah.
Why May 9th?
Yeah, why? Think about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. You think.
Brought to
Come to
you
the
by
festival.
QAnon.
Yeah.
Non-QAnon.
Oh man. Excellent. Okay, we just got a couple more. To ask a couple more questions, and then we'll get out of your hair for today. We are all fans of other artists, as you talked to as well, and you've had these fanboy moments. What is your favorite piece of memorabilia?
Honestly, I'll tell you, all my tour lanyards from
Nice.
all my time in Nevermore and Annihilator, like having all those. Fuck, I toured with these guys. I toured with these guys. Man, oh wow, like that's my favorite little bit of personal memorabilia. And then I have a whole bunch of stuff that's been sent to me over the years by Nevermore and Annihilator fans. They all know that I like smiley faces, so I got a whole little curio cabinet full of like smiley face presents and stuff from people.
Yeah.
Which yeah, that's it.
Nice, excellent. And unless Vic has something else, I've just got one more question. What are your plans for the rest of 2022? Do you have a tour, new music, something else going on?
Lots. So for the rest of 2022 and 2023, because things are already being planned, apparently, So Shatter Messiah, we're going to do a re-release on Hail the New Cross, our third album. Doing a remix and a remaster. That's getting re-released on a new label. Then we'll have the fifth Shatter Messiah album will be released probably about 6 months after that. I have a new death metal band I'm doing called 72 Legions. We're working on our debut record right now. We've got some shows coming up in July and August here in Ohio, and then we're going to try and do a small little East Coast tour in September, and then start working on the second record for that. I recently joined Dead Earth, and we have a whole new record that we're working on, getting ready to send to Roy Z to have him mix and master.
Oh, that's gonna sound good then, because he made the stuff he did with Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those
Chemical
albums sound great.
Wedding, yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. I'm very excited about that. I'm hoping that they'll allow me to fly on the wall in there. I'll make
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
I'll
right,
make
right.
any fucking noise. So Dead Earth, we're working on a new record. We got one show in August for that band, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We have some possible stuff happening out of country here, but it's all still, hey, you've been contacted by these promoters, they want to talk about booking shows. Okay, cool. And so that happened on Friday, and today's Sunday, so maybe Monday.
Right.
But that's happening. My instrumental band, Custom Audio Mutation, I got show coming up on the 19th of May. The long gestating instrumental record, or maybe EPs, I don't know yet. I got to finish those, get those released. So I got a lot of fun music and cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
As far as playing in bands, playing with some really cool people, and making some very, very cool heavy metal music. At least I mean, of course I'm jaded, but I think it's fucking cool, man. So
Excellent. That's a pretty full plate.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah,
I
that's
need a
great.
nap.
Nice, man. So 72 Legions. What
Yeah.
is there any significance to that name?
So the singer Devin came up with that name for the band, and it's cool with this band that I don't have to do everything. I can just play guitar. I can write,
Right.
play guitar. And so Devin writes cool lyrics, and I don't got to tell him how to sing. He knows how to puke into a mic and all the good stuff. But he came up with the name just as just kind of a weird one-off. So it's the mythology of it is, in heaven there's 72 archangels and their hierarchy of minor angels, and so hell has to mirror heaven.
Right.
In for religion to work, you have to have a dark to the light. So there's 72 legions in hell that match the armies of heaven. So that's where.
Okay.
And each legion has a sigil or a symbol that they're bound to, to answer to, or to be blocked by this, that, and the other. So having command of the sigil means you have command of that legion. So, and then the one king devil has, he has the 72 legions in his, kind of thing. It's interesting mythology,
cool.
demon mythology thing. Not that I'm a Sataner or anything, but it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
It's old mythology from Babylon type stuff. So it's like, well, people thought this shit up to control people. This is hilarious. So
Excellent. I like the balance. Well, now we know why the new Star Wars movies didn't really work out. The prequels, because you have 2 Sith Lords and all these Jedis. What the fuck, man? Makes sense. All right. Would you mind doing a bumper for us before we go? This is Curran Murphy of Shatter Messiah, and you are watching Heavy Metal Horror, something like that.
Sure thing.
Excellent. I'll let you go when you're ready.
All right. Hey, this is Curran Murphy from Shatter Messiah, and you are watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Curran. We have had a great time getting to know you, and look forward to hopefully coming up to play in a show near the Cleveland Way, not too far from where you're at.
Well, most of the shows right now for for Dead Earth and 72 are all down Canton, Buzzbin, and Empire. Yeah. So I don't know where, how, or who for a fucking Cleveland gig. I got no fucking idea.
Right.
Cleveland's a little bit insular, I've noticed. They don't like outsiders.
Correct.
Especially guys sporting Steeler t-shirts and shit.
Correct.
I was getting some static one day. Might have been at the game.
Yeah, that's it. They have facial recognition. That's why they won't let you back in. All right. So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Well, we're gonna get our outro out of here, and when we send our final message with Heavy Metal Horror, we're gonna invite you to bring up your horns and join us.
Cool.
All right. So you can find Heavy Metal Horror on unsaneradio.com, listen to full episodes, or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, which is if you're watching, that's where you're at. Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And now we're on Roku, the Hotel Metal Jam. If you know someone who'd like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Master of Illusion.
Wildcard.
And you've been watching and listening to, here's the horns, Heavy Metal Horror.
The most amazing outro.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.